Draymond Green is not shy about his ambitions for the Golden State Warriors, and on Thursday he made it very clear who he believes should be the team's next major acquisition. Speaking on his podcast, the veteran forward casually dropped the name of Nikola Jokic while discussing the upcoming NBA season, sending Warriors fans into a frenzy across social media. The moment felt less like an accident and more like a calculated tease from one of the league's most savvy personalities. Green's exact framing was pointed and deliberate. He spoke about the Joker coming into Dub Nation, into San Francisco, and acknowledged that there had been a lot of talk about Jokic in the Bay Area recently. He even tied it to the Christmas Day matchup between the Warriors and the Denver Nuggets, saying the discussion would likely intensify depending on how both teams perform heading into that high-profile holiday showcase. It was a kind of soft launch that only someone deeply embedded in the league's inner circles could pull off with such ease. The timing makes sense when you look at what the Warriors are quietly building toward on the financial side. Golden State currently has just 4 players under guaranteed contracts for next season, with those deals combining for roughly $27.3 million. Even if DeAnthony Melton and Al Horford exercise their respective player options, the team's total committed salary would land around $40 million. That is an extraordinary amount of flexibility in a league where most contenders are buried under long-term commitments and luxury tax penalties. The Warriors are essentially setting the table for a blockbuster offseason in 2027. The dream scenario, at least according to those circling the Warriors front office, would be to pair Nikola Jokic with Stephen Curry in Golden State's next championship window. Jokic is widely considered the best player in the world right now, a 3-time MVP whose combination of size, vision, and offensive brilliance is unlike anything the NBA has seen in decades. Putting him alongside Curry would create one of the most frightening offensive combinations in league history. The basketball world would stop and pay attention. There is one significant problem with that dream: Jokic himself. The Serbian center has publicly stated his intention to re-sign with the Denver Nuggets next summer, which would make him eligible for a 5-year extension worth approximately $359.5 million. That is a kind of money and long-term security that only Denver can offer him at this stage. For Jokic, who has repeatedly shown loyalty to the organization that drafted him and built a championship around him, leaving for Golden State seems unlikely on the surface. But Draymond Green does not operate on the surface. The 4-time champion understands the NBA as a business, and he knows that player intentions can shift when circumstances change. Jokic is entering the final guaranteed year of his current contract at $59 million this season, with a player option worth $62.8 million for 2027 to 28. If something were to crack in Denver, whether through internal friction, a disappointing season, or a change in organizational direction, the Warriors would be positioned to strike with maximum financial force. Other realistic free agent targets the Warriors could pursue in 2027 include Jimmy Butler, Anthony Davis, Karl-Anthony Towns, Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, and Tyler Herro. Several of those players have player options that could put them on the open market, giving Golden State multiple paths toward adding elite talent alongside Curry, who would be heading into what could be one of his final seasons as a franchise cornerstone. What makes Draymond's comments particularly fascinating is the context surrounding his own situation. Green is playing this season on a 1-year deal worth $27.7 million, a contract that could theoretically be used as a salary-matching piece in a trade. He is essentially playing for his own future at 36 years old, while simultaneously acting as the team's unofficial recruiter and public-facing ambassador. That dual role is unusual, and it speaks to the unique position Green occupies within the Warriors organization. His value to Golden State goes beyond what shows up in a box score. He is a connector, a communicator, and a leader whose voice carries weight in locker rooms across the league. When Draymond Green publicly floats a name on his podcast, players notice, agents notice, front offices notice. It is not an accident, and it is not idle speculation. It is strategy disguised as conversation. The question now is whether Green's recruiting pitch translates into anything real. If the Warriors can stay competitive this season, avoid major injuries, and position Curry for one final championship run, the pitch becomes much easier to make. A healthy, motivated Stephen Curry playing at a high level is still one of the most compelling arguments any team can offer a free agent. Add in Golden State's market, its culture, and its championship DNA, and the Warriors remain a destination worth watching. Draymond Green clearly believed the best is still ahead for Dub Nation, and he is making sure the rest of the NBA knows it too. There is a particular kind of credibility that comes with saying someone is one of the 4 greatest players in the history of basketball, and when that praise comes from a teammate who watched the player up close for over a decade, it carries even more weight. Klay Thompson recently revealed his personal NBA Mount Rushmore, and Stephen Curry made the list. For Warriors fans, it was a moment of deep validation, a reminder that what they watched in Golden State over the past decade and a half was truly historic. Thompson chose Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Curry as the 4 names on his personal monument to basketball greatness. It is a list that blends the timeless icons of the game with a current active player who is still writing his story, which makes it all the more striking. Jordan and Kobe represent the gold standard of individual brilliance and competitive fire. LeBron James is the embodiment of longevity and versatility at the highest level. And Curry is there because of what Thompson witnessed personally, night after night, across 13 seasons of basketball at the highest level. The bond between Thompson and Curry goes back to when both were young players finding their footing in the NBA. Over the years, they became the Splash Brothers, a duo that redefined what shooting looked like at the professional level and helped transform the Golden State Warriors from a middling franchise into a 4-time championship organization. Together, they pushed the boundaries of what was considered possible from the perimeter, and their chemistry on the floor was something that coaches and analysts spent years trying to replicate around the league. No one quite managed it. Thompson spent the last 2 seasons with the Dallas Mavericks after parting ways with the Warriors in the summer of 2024 in what was widely described as a disappointing conclusion to a legendary run. The split came after lengthy negotiations broke down, and Thompson eventually signed in Dallas with the goal of playing alongside Luka Doncic. That plan was appended when Doncic was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers roughly halfway through the following season, leaving Thompson in an awkward position in a city that suddenly had a very different identity and direction. Now Thompson finds himself in an uncertain spot entering the 2026-27 season. His contract with the Mavericks carries a salary of $17.5 million, which makes a trade extremely difficult to execute from a salary matching standpoint. Dallas has been unable to find a trade partner willing to absorb that contract, and as the season progresses without a resolution, a buyout scenario becomes increasingly likely. If Thompson and the Mavericks reach a buyout agreement ahead of the 2027 trade deadline, he would enter free agency and the entire league would take notice. The Golden State Warriors would almost certainly be at the front of that line. Curry has already made clear publicly that he would welcome a reunion with Thompson, and the organizational sentiment in Golden State leans strongly toward bringing the former Warrior back for one final chapter together. The Warriors' cap situation heading into 2027 is structured in a way that could accommodate Thompson on a veteran minimum contract, which at this stage of his career is likely what the market would offer him regardless of destination. That changes the calculus significantly because money becomes less of a factor and desire becomes everything. If Thompson is choosing based on where he most wants to play, a reunion with Curry in Golden State would be the sentimental and competitive answer that most fans and observers expect. Playing alongside the point guard he put on his personal Mount Rushmore, in the city and arena where he won 4 championships, with a franchise that remains serious about contending, would be a powerful draw. It would also give Thompson a chance to rewrite a final chapter that currently ends with an unsatisfying exit. That said, Thompson would not be without other options. The Los Angeles Lakers, who now employ LeBron James, would be a strong destination, given that Thompson named LeBron on his Mount Rushmore, and that the two have never played on the same team. The idea of linking up for a late career push would appeal to both players. The Philadelphia 76ers would also have interest, as that roster is being built around star-level talent with championship ambitions, and adding a shooter at Thompson's caliber to any playoff contender always makes sense. For now, Warriors fans watch the situation from a distance and hope. They have already seen the team reunite with former contributors and build narratives around legacy and loyalty. A Klay Thompson return would close a loop that many believe was left open too soon. His Mount Rushmore reveal is not just a media moment. It is a signal about where his heart still lives, and for Golden State, that means everything going to one of the most pivotal off-seasons in franchise history. The NBA released its full 2026-27 regular season schedule on Thursday, and the Golden State Warriors landed some genuinely intriguing matchups right from the opening tip. Beyond the usual rivalry games and conference clashes, for contests stand out above the rest with their storylines, their star power, and the questions they might answer about where this Warriors team truly stands as it navigates a season full of transition and possibility. Before diving into the top four, one game deserves an honorable mention. At some point this season, Jonathan Kuminga will walk back into Chase Center as a member of an opposing team. The young forward remains unsigned as of now, but whoever gives him a contract will eventually travel to San Francisco, and the atmosphere inside the arena for that game figures to be charged with tension. Kuminga spent several formative seasons with the Warriors before a difficult divorce from the organization, and when the two sides played last year in Atlanta, he struggled badly, scoring just 2 points on 1 of 9 shooting. A return to Golden State, in front of fans he once played for, against the coaching staff he once clashed with, will be a very different kind of pressure. Do not overlook it. The first marquee game on the official list is the season opener on October 21st at the Los Angeles Lakers, scheduled for 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. This matchup arrives loaded with questions about both franchises. The Lakers underwent a dramatic transformation this offseason after LeBron James departed for the Philadelphia 76ers, ending an 8-year run with the organization. Los Angeles now features Luka Doncic as its undisputed centerpiece, surrounded by a largely new supporting cast that includes Walker Kessler, Quentin Grimes, Colin Sexton, Kevin Looney, and Matisse Thybulle, among others. The Lakers enter as favorites to win the Pacific Division, a title they have claimed in each of the last 2 seasons. But how quickly those new pieces mesh with Doncic remains the central unknown. For the Warriors, the opener serves as a statement opportunity. Stephen Curry will be entering his 18th NBA season at 38 years old, and every performance he delivers in the opening weeks of the year carries a little extra weight as the basketball world watches to see how he handles the natural progression of age. Curry has defied expectations at every turn, but the scrutiny intensifies each year. A strong showing against the Lakers on national television would immediately quiet any doubters and set the tone for everything that follows. This opener feels like more than just Game 1. The second must-watch contest is the home opener at Chase Center on October 23rd against the Memphis Grizzlies at 10 p.m. Eastern. What makes this game particularly spicy is the subplot involving Warriors rookie Yaxel Lendeborg and Grizzlies rookie Cameron Boozer. After the Summer League championship game, Lendeborg made headlines by calling out Boozer and referencing an existing competitive grudge that stretches back to their college days, when Boozer's Duke team defeated Lendeborg's Michigan squad earlier in the year. Lendeborg did not mince words, suggesting that referees have been giving Boozer favorable treatment and making clear that every game between them carries personal stakes. Watching 2 rookies begin what could be a long-running rivalry in the very first home game of the regular season add a layer of intrigue that no one anticipated when the schedule dropped. Moving deeper into the calendar, November 13th brings a road trip to San Antonio that airs at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Prime Video. Whenever Curry and Victor Wembanyama share a floor, the game instantly becomes appointment viewing. The generational French center is developing into one of the most unique defensive forces the game has seen. Yet Curry found historic success against the Spurs last season, pouring in 95 combined points across 2 games against San Antonio. Both Golden State wins. The basketball question embedded in this matchup is genuinely compelling. Is Curry's style play a structural problem for the Spurs' defensive scheme, or can San Antonio make adjustments that force the Warriors to find different answers to win? The answer could tell us a great deal about both team ceilings. The final game worth circling on the calendar is March 24th at home against the Philadelphia 76ers at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. This matchup arrives soaked in storylines. The 76ers now feature LeBron James, who departed Los Angeles this offseason, and a roster built to contend with star power at multiple positions. Jimmy Butler, who spent time with Miami before landing in Philadelphia, will be facing a franchise that was once connected to him in trade conversations. Jaylen Brown, another reported piece of that roster, would carry the memory of losing to Golden State in the 2022 NBA Finals. And Curry and LeBron, two of the greatest players of their generation, would be squaring off with the awareness that games between them at this stage of their careers are numbered and precious. A rematch is scheduled for March 31st as well, giving both sides a chance for redemption and continuation of a rivalry that has defined an entire era of basketball. The Warriors' 2026-27 schedule is full of compelling nights, but these four matchups are the ones to put on the calendar right now.